Coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. The Chinook School Division recently held its April board meeting in Swift Current as it tries to cut costs while keeping the best interests of students in focus.
Heading back to Regina for Game 5 with a 3-1 series lead, the Broncos are showing the hockey world that they're to be taken seriously, and fans in Swift Current are listening.
As the temperatures continue to heat up in the coming weeks, more people will be spending time in the backyard with fire pits or enjoying a meal on the barbecue. Thanks for joining us here today. The Chinook School Division is facing a tough road ahead in the coming weeks with its annual budget. We have more in today's top story. The Chinook School Division recently held its April board meeting in Swift Current. And along with the presentations by area students and Chinook staff of positive outcomes in various curriculum project areas, the reality of moving forward with less funding from the province is still at the forefront. Kyle McIntyre is the acting director of education for Chinook and says the board is having to cut significant costs to deal with the funding shortfall from the provincial budget, which is proving to be a challenge, as 71% of Chinook's overall budget is allocated to staff wages and benefits.
And so right now we enjoy the lowest pupil-teacher ratio in the province. So we have to do some things to address the gap between what we presently have and where we need to be in terms of our financial recognition. So there's a little bit of work that we may have to do with our staffing formulas. And so probably that is going to be done over time. It's not something that we can do right away. The first kind of level of reduction, we made a commitment to try to keep those reductions away from the classroom as much as possible. So we really reduced our central office supports. And so we're all going to be working a lot harder here in central office and trying to do more things with less personnel. And we know that that won't impact the classroom as immediately, but it will impact the classroom.
And as indicated in this recent press release, staff cuts have already affected 9 individuals across the Chinook School Division.
So we have $8.8 million less funding than what we had last year. So what we had was we had a reduction with provincial budget, and then we had a reallocation of our supports for learning, which was something done in a funding review with the province. So our supports for learning was cut by 27%, which is $3.7 million. So we've had to look at the number of supports that we've provided in our school division because we could, and we have to evaluate the level of support that we have. So we still have supports available for students. And so what we've done is we've done a cluster reorganization. We've moved from 4 clusters of support to 3. And part of that was a reallocation of staff. And so we tried to do a lot of it through attrition. We tried to do a lot of it through reassignment of staff to schools.
And with significant gains in the past few years for grade scores in literacy and math, the Chinook board will now strive to keep the demands of cost-saving measures away from the classroom as much as possible, while relying on its staff retraining and the use of technology for the benefit of students.
Like, we really have a well-trained teaching force. And so those coaches that we're putting back into classrooms who are teachers that we trained up in our learning initiatives, they've been providing a lot of supports to our teachers and to our students. And their expertise, it's benefited all the teachers that we have in the classroom. And our results have been outstanding. So we're probably going to be fine for a while because the level of training that we have amongst our teachers right now is very high. We have a high level of expertise in our schools right now. So short term, removing those coaches and putting them back into classrooms where they teach, it's going to help the schools they're going back to. Overall, as a system, we're probably not going to notice any sort of dips in performance immediately, but probably 3-4 years down the road, as our staff starts to attrition and transition out and we have new staff coming in, we're going to have a plan to address training those staff up so that they have the same level of expertise.
In the end, whatever cost-saving scenario the Chinook School Division decides on in the coming weeks will require final approval from the Saskatchewan Ministry of Education, leaving the Chinook board at a crossroads as it tries to cut costs while keeping the best interests of students in focus.
Saskatchewan is not just a great place to be from. It is a great place to be.
For over 12 years, Southwest TV News has provided the visuals for the defining moments in our community. Support your community and help us to continue our work. Support our sponsors by watching the ads on YouTube and by clicking the ads on our website. pennies per click, which will help us continue to bring you the award-winning news coverage you've come to expect from Southwest TV News. Southwest Saskatchewan has caught hockey fever as fans cheer on the Swift Current Broncos throughout the playoffs.
The Swift Current Broncos were supposed to lose the first-round matchup against the Moose Jaw Warriors. Then they were supposed to be swept by the #1 ranked team in the CHL, the Regina Pats. Heading back to Regina for Game 5 with a 3-1 series lead, the Broncos are showing the hockey world that they're to be taken seriously, and fans in Swift Current are listening. After years of subpar attendance, fans are starting to catch Bronco fever, and it's about more than just winning games.
The team is actually playing a more offensive style, and they're exciting to watch. Just wish more people come out and watch the games. They're putting a great product on the ice this season. We haven't been in the playoffs for so many years. The fans are starting to get on board. They're seeing what kind of caliber of hockey we have, and this is what's keeping us going. It's the gravy for the team and the gravy for the fans.
It's the old style PA Raiders, 4 lines, go out there, get the puck and go. And then once we started building some momentum, Diane and I, after we did the monument spiel on the radio, she kept it up, trying to get more people into the rink. And then our mayor, Dennis Perot, got on board, and he started pounding the pavement, and the people started to come. And it's like night and day. Literally saved the Broncos season, because financially, I think it would have been pretty bad.
The renewed sense of excitement towards the team, combined with a lack of available tickets, has introduced a new set of requests from fellow supporters.
It's crazy how many people right now are wanting to come to games, and they're sold out, so it's really hard to get a ticket. And so basically anybody that knows that you're here and helping out, they want some sort of in to get to a game. I tell them I'm not the ticket office and they got to get their own.
While the product on the ice has been fun to watch all season, the combined exposure of the playoffs and a hometown victory airing on Sportsnet has begun to translate into ticket sales and a new electricity in the credit union Iplex.
Everything we heard about the team this year was so positive, but it wasn't translating into bums in seats. And now, as playoffs are rolling around, it's positive, and there's bums in seats, and there's all kinds of excitement. And what a great thing the other night. National TV audience, the rink is full, everybody's going nuts. What a great display for the city of Swift Current.
Last night I actually had goosebumps all over me, just sitting there remembering Sheldon Kennedy, Kimby Daniels, Scotty Kruger, name after name, guys that have been through this building. Williams, Trache, all those guys. This is the kind of hockey that was in this building for many years.
For Southwest TV News, I'm Craig Chaplin.
Market Square is a summer tradition in downtown Swift Current, and organizers are now searching for entertainers, food vendors, and artisans to be part of the excitement for the upcoming season. Contact Marlene today at 750-7888 and spend your Saturdays in downtown Swift Current this summer. Market Square, proudly presented by the City of Swift Current, Standard Motors, Innovation Credit Union, and Southwest TV News. Well, as you get ready to fire up the barbecue for another season, the fire department is once again reminding you to keep safety top of mind. As the temperatures continue to heat up in the coming weeks, more people will be spending time in the backyard with fire pits or enjoying a meal on the barbecue. And before you embark on this favorite pastime, there's a few safety tips to keep in mind.
An encouragement to double check before you have your first barbecue. Give it a clean, get the grease and debris out from last year, clean off the burners, and while you've got it all apart, check the hoses, check the burners, specifically the rubber hosing underneath, and if you see some damage on there, doing a soap test to make sure it's not leaking, or just replace the hoses. We want to keep them away from the house, usually 3 to 4 feet, making sure that we've got some clearance around the barbecue and keeping it away from our house and combustibles.
With tinder dry conditions already reported in many areas of the province, you're reminded to keep a garden hose handy in case the sparks start to fly.
Tidy up the yards get rid of loose debris and plastic and garbage and leaves and that kind of stuff. And if you're going to start your fire pit and have your fire pit open, that's wonderful. You by law you need to have your garden hose out, water on, and it's stretched out to protect your yard and your neighbors.
And if you do intend to use a fire pit this season, ensure it's built to code and that you have a permit from the city. More information on fire pit permits are available through the City of Swift Current's website or by calling the fire department.
Henry Richard, Provo, Russo, all those guys that had played.
He faced off against Rocket Richard.
Rocket Richard, he was the referee for the game.
Our line scored a goal. It was just boom. It was loud.
Yeah, it was a lot of good times.
Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at southwesttvnews.com. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.